Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about Team Foundation Server, the latest version that we have 2017, and the continuous integration. So when we start learning DevOps, the most important two terms that comes into our mind or we come across through, that is continuous integration and continuous deployment. So let's take this product. I have a small PPT and I divided my course into 4 sections, and I have a hands-on session. I created a VMware session so that you guys also can do hands-on. When you read this video, I have the link also with me, which I'll be sharing with you. Let me go to the full screen. I hope the topics are visible now. So TFS as a product. Okay. So this is the quick view that I got from Microsoft website. So TFS, what is this TFS? TFS is called Team Foundation Server, which meant to be created by Microsoft, keeping that in mind that it will be helping starting from requirement gathering, project management, version control tool, test case management, your build automation, that means continuous integration, build deployment, that is continuous deployment, your reporting tool, integration to your SharePoint, integration to your web, and a kind of a configuration management which will give you an environment where you can manage the servers, like not exactly like a Shell Puppet or Ansible, but it is kind of a lab management tool. You can think about the VMware, how the VMware works, kind of hypervisor works, kind of. So in short, TFS is a product which made to be developed to start from your project management till your end of the product delivery, end to end. So if you have TFS in your system, you don't have to use any other tool, any other software to follow the DevOps topology. I have this second view which talks about what I currently describe. They call it application lifecycle management. So they maintain your code, they deploy your code, and they oversee like a governance on control of your code base. So you can see requirement management, software architecture, programming, testing, maintenance, change management, integration, deployment. So deployment falls under this release management. We have similar tool IBM Urban Code, which also made with the same intention, but TFS seems to be most popular these days because of the simplicity, and it's Microsoft. Moving to the next slide, which again talks about the TFS overview. So TFS itself a huge product which might needed 4 or 5 sessions to complete what TFS, how it works, and how the architecture, all those things. Still, I tried to give you a quick overview so that you can understand what you're using, how actually it works. TFS, the basic difference from any other tool, any other software that is available in the market, TFS saves everything in a database, in a SQL Server database. So it creates object as in table, it creates schema, and inside that a table format, they have tuples, rows, and all those things, and it saves everything in the dataset, like database. So you can understand, if you wanted to install TFS, you should have the SQL Server installed. That is the basic requirement. I have that in my next slide. TFS works in 3 layers: your database layer, your application layer, which is managing the entire application, and the client, which would be used by the user, developers, testers, like people like us. Application tier mainly takes care of managing the client and coordinating with the database. So I hope we were aware of this concept called agent and controller. So as like any other software, they have an agent which you can consider as a server, which actually manage your particular instance into your local, to run that, to control that, to allocate the resources. So TFS applications layer tier may be working kind of agent controller mode, and database is your SQL Server. I have a small snippet here uh, about the continuous integration. I'll describe this little later in my next section. I'll come back again in this slide and I'll explain that. So I hope we understand TFS, Team Foundation Server, is work in 3 layer. It saves the data into database, SQL Server database, and it has agent, controller, which actually the concept is that one server, one agent, and one agent can be allocated to multiple agent pools. Suppose I have created one agent called agent 1, and I have agent pool 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have one work running on agent pool 1, another work running agent pool 2, third work is agent 3, agent pool 3, but I have only one agent. So whenever the work come to the pool or the queue, the agent that I have that actually runs that. So it is, I'm utilizing my server space or agent space. Anyway, I'm going to share that in my hands-on session. I'll explain that concept clearly. But now if you understand, agent is preferably one agent per server. So going to my next slide. TFS currently using the latest version 2017, which require this Windows 10 or this version. I have here listed everything. Preferably, I'll tell you, TFS has three varieties. TFS Express, which is people like who wanted to do a hands-on, who wanted to do a quick learning experience or run for a small set of organization like 3-4 computer kind of, they can use TFS Express. TFS on-premises, it's a little bigger version. In enterprise model, works for a large organization. And the third one is the VTO. It is for the cloud system. Like if you have a cloud, you wanted to, or you manage your organization over the cloud, you should be using the TFS VTO. So I have downloaded TFS Express. You can go to the Visual Studio site and you can download TFS Express. Prior to that, download SQL Server Express, install SQL Server, install TFS, and it is pretty much though how to install, how to configure, that needed another session, but it's pretty simple. You install first SQL Server, then TFS, and it's done. 1 hour work that is covers everything. So I have that here. I can show it to you. Coming to the continuous integration. So what is this continuous integration? What I need that? What is the help of having this continuous integration? So basically, continuous integration means the developers are changing anything in their module that actually wait till somebody do a integration, somebody build that. For Java code, for .NET code, for PHP, any code, somebody built that manually. So the technique which is being used or now also getting used by some of the organization, like suppose they have Harvest, suppose they have Endeavor, they have the change code there. Once all the developer check in their changes, the release manager, software configuration manager start running the build script one after another. So suppose I'm using a change, I have to wait till the other people also done with the change and check into my code. Or again, if the build is done, again I'm doing a change, again the software configuration manager had to do those things, which is very tedious. I'll go back to my this graph. So you can see this is my master branch or the branch which is running in production. This is my release. Suppose I have a new product to release. So what I did, I checked out this code to my test environment, which I call as a release branch. That several people are making their changes and they're checking in. And I have parallel development also, because some of the changes which is happening here, I created another branch. So multiple branch, I can create one more branch for another set of development in the same release. Now, if you see here, integration, forward integration, reverse integration, that all happens. think about this aspect and think about using a harvest endeavor tool, and you ask your SCM that, hey, can you do the build like this? He will say, I'll leave my job. So that is how to do this thing: continuous integration, multiple check-in, check-out. Developer no need to worry from where they're working, from when that is working. They just need to follow that, okay, my release on that day, this goal code, the release code freezes on that day. Before that I can do my check-in, and the software will take care of my build. So continuous integration means as soon as you check in, there would be a software, there would be a tool who will run behind based upon your changes, that will generate a script, and it will build the code with the main branch, or here the release branch. And again, you can see it is merging to the master branch. So in continuous integration, we have several tools. We have TFS, which also takes care of this. Jenkins takes care of this. Urban Core takes care of this. But today we are going to talk about Team Foundation Server. Team Foundation Server, you have certain conditions. So if you want, you have three types of continuous integration. One, still the software configuration manager will trigger the build. It will not get triggered automatically. So which is called schedule, which happens where it is a small organization or you have small set of developers. So you don't use your agent much. You run it once a day, twice a day, something like that. CI, continuous integration, that is the second option. First one was the scheduled. CI is this continuous integration, which is like anytime there is a change, the build will run. You can set with what is the script you wanted to run in the build, what are the steps you want to follow. Suppose I have a code which is more like a PowerShell script. Okay, so my build process is that once I have done the build, once I have done the changes, the PowerShell script, the exe file will get generated in first step. Second step, the exe file will get copied to a server space. That's it. That is my build step. So I can define that. I will be showing that to you, but I hope the continuous integration has been understood. Continuous integration, to do continuous integration inside TFS, we get our choice of plugins. Suppose you say, hey man, I work in the Ant, I work in the Maven for my Java project. Why should I use TFS? I'll say you use TFS, you'll get the Maven as you are using as a plugin inside the TFS. So TFS, to do the continuous integration, mainly for Java code, you have Ant, Maven, Gradle, and same plugins, and hundreds of, I think 512 plugins are there, which you can use as you are using in your previous system. This agent can run on Windows, Linux, and Mac. Even the Android code also can be done a continuous integration through the TFS. So TFS gives you a huge flexibility to run any kind of code on any environment, which is a great, right? I have this build automation. So if you look at here, continuous integration, integrate early, integrate often. I have talked about this three option, right? Built on every check-in. Anytime the change happen, it will get built. Get it check-in, it will queue for the build, but it will wait the previous process to complete. Rolling build, it will run like a roll. Your changes happen, it is get queued, and if the agent available, two process can run parallelly. Suppose you have three agents and you created 3 queues per agent. So you can run 10 builds together, but like one agent can run one build at a time. So 3 build can run together. So you have QTP script, you wanted to execute some test script after the build is complete, you can use that. You have that in the continuous integration. And whatever your option, I'll show you, you can do that. .NET based host, we have MS Build and unit based test for Java, JUnit, Ant, Maven, Gradle, all the plugins you have. I have a small snippet here to explain more. So suppose this is my version control system where 3 developers are working together. I have this Team Foundation server as a version control system. So TFS is not only for your continuous integration, continuous deployment, as I mentioned, it helps to do your Scrum, your agile based model also. Along with TFS also have a separate version control system. They call it TFS VC, Team Foundation Server Version Control. So how it is related. Now, if you look at here, these three developers worked on a module and they made a changes to this version control system. Once this version control system got all the changes here, it now integrate using the continuous integration facility in Team Foundation Server build server. So when you define this, if you're using for your home, your laptop itself will work as a version control system, your build server. If you're working in organization, you get two software, two services, right? So you have one more server for Team Foundation Server. And as I mentioned earlier, in one server you can have more number of agent, but you preferable if you have one agent and you can have n number of queue. So the build happened here. So after this build, I mentioned about this step also, right? That build is like you are compiling the code or you are making that as a composite module and you're putting into a place. Once that is done, then the CD, continuous deployment, comes, which we can cover in the next section. It will take it from the server space to respective application or web server for that particular environment. So our code normally runs to like this, right? Test environment, integration environment, pre-production environment or QA environment, then production environment. So your CD part takes care of that build code to move from one environment to another environment seamlessly without even knowing you. For an example, on a Saturday, on a Friday, you have made some changes in a code in test environment. Team Foundation VCAs, you use that version control system. Your CI tool inside the TFS integrate that, and it found the test case executed on CI is fine. It moved to test environment code to, sorry about that, I got an internet connection slippage here. It moves to test environment code into your integration environment. Now the similar thing happens in your integration environment. It finds everything running fine. So now it moves your code to the other environment. That means your QA environment. And similarly, once the QA environment is fine, it moves the code to your production environment. So on Monday, when you're coming back, you see your code has been moved to the production environment, and you didn't have to talk to the SCM, you didn't have to schedule a release management call, you don't have to ask anybody, hey, when my code is going to the production. If you have integration perfect, if you have deployment perfect, which meets test case created by you or your SCM, it will move to the production flawlessly, seamlessly. That's why CI/CD talks. Another small snippet. I'm using Visual Studio for my .NET thing, web browser to access that. So each environment have an output console. So this code goes to Team Foundation Server. Build definition I have created, which I'll show you now. Team Foundation Server build service, where the agent, see here, I was talking about this, right? Controller controls the agent. Agent runs on agent action on agent queue. And after that, that goes to the deployment area. So that is what we have CI. I have this picture here on my hands-on session, how the automation built overview. Instead of lot of talk and no explanation, let me go to my console and I'll show you one thing, how it happens on ground. I have a couple of slides which talks about what I'm going to talk, but let's look at here. I have one link here, lab environment. If you click on this, this is Microsoft link. If you click on this, it will take you to a Microsoft lab environment where you can basically get your own TFS already installed, configured, you can run that and you can understand how it happens. So I'm going to use that. So give me a minute. I already have opened that link and I have configured that. You can see once you open that link, you'll get a Visual Studio Lab, which is being used for 1 hour or so. So we can see 1 hour and 77 minutes remaining. So let me go there. Okay. So now I'll quickly make this as a full screen. Now I will talk about how actually it runs. Okay, I have some disruption in this VM connectivity. So give me a minute. I think so. Let me go back to my PPT till this environment gets ready. Okay. So this TFS build definition that works as more like your steps. So suppose if you focus on this PPT, right? It has 3 sections: build, utility, and test. Build is that if you can look at here, Ant, CMake, Gradle, Gulp, Jenkins, right? So whatever tool you know been used for your build, all the plugins are here. So what you need to do when you are creating your build, you can add this as a step. You can look at here, right? Bash script, copy files, delete files. So suppose these are the utility to copy your build into the TFS server. So you can use Ant, where you get a .jar file, and after that .jar file you can copy to a TFS server. So you're using this step, and after that maybe you're running a test case, run functional test case, so that it can confirm that okay, your tool is running fine. I hope my TFS environment is ready by now. Let me click on retry connection and go into the environment. Okay, it's all set. This is the few hiccups that happens, but it's really good, you know. So I'll quickly go here. Once you log into your TFS, you will not see it will be coming like this. I will click on that server home. So once I click on this, it comes like a blank page, and you can look at here. It shows mainly the server name, like your TFS, your computer name :8080, your computer name :8080 and /TFS. So this is this thing, VS ALM 8080 TFS. Now from here you can select a project. So project means what? Project means suppose I work for Facebook. I wanted to have a new feature of like button to be changed in a different way. So I created a new project called like button change project. So it is like you can consider this as a branch. You created a new branch, right? From the main production code, you created a new branch. So I'll be using here fiber cam fiber. So now this one, right? I'm into this tool. Now I'll be going here, agent queue. I already have the agent configured here, but what I wanted to do, you can see, right? I have executed some of the build today. What I'm going to do, I'm going to explain what is this agent first, and then I'll delete it so that I can recreate it. So see here, I can create any number of pools here. Okay, I can create new pools, default 1 2 3 4 5 6 by clicking on the new pool. I can create any number of pools here. See, like 1 2 3 4, like that. And I have one agent. So suppose I have one agent, but I have multiple pools. So if something, so suppose if one of the continuous integration get queued in default, this agent is serving that. Another one can be queued into another queue, another pool like that. But I have one agent. So one agent can handle one queue, but I have multiple queue, and it is also like we do in trading, right? This queue would be processed by one agent, but virtually parallelly. So it is like you have multiple queue, but one agent is serving. So your one queue will not get overloaded. You have multiple queue for that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete that queue so that you will understand how to do all these things, right? Okay, I deleted everything, nothing is here. Now you see, I'm going to create agent for you, but before that I'll create a pool, because when I create an agent, I'll show you that. Rather show, so download agent. Once I do the download agent, it gives you a link to download. After that you have a command. It takes pretty long time, 15-20 minutes. I happen to make it, I downloaded it earlier to make this process fast. So this is the download folder where I have downloaded. After that I have extracted it in C drive under agent. Okay, so I have that here extracted. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run that commands. Okay, it has so many things, right? So I'm going to run the command to create the agent again. Now I am in this folder, so let me run this command called config.cmd. Enter. Okay, so in PowerShell we have little different. It's not like your Windows. I need to execute in the root config.cmd. Okay, it's saying I already have this, right? So let me remove that first. Dot config.cmd remove. So I'm removing my config.cmd, which I created a few minutes back for my use. So I'm removing this service. And again, this agent in TFS act as a service. So it is a service. Entering, it is a service. It runs like a service in your Windows, right? So similar. So I have removed everything, right? Removed credentials. Now I will enter the same command config.cmd. So if you come here, right, in this folder, if you come here, you have here config.cmd. So I'm just executing that, nothing else. So I'm executing it in my PowerShell window. So this is the PowerShell window. If you type in your command prompt PowerShell, you'll get this x86 window. So config.cmd, it is running. It is asking me the server URL. So you know what server URL means? Your TFS URL. So TFS you can access through web URL. You don't need any client installed to your computer. Isn't it very nice? Yeah. So my URL is this. I'll type that here. Okay. So I'll again show it on my PC. Currently I'm doing in the VM, which has been provided by Microsoft. What happened? Okay, so now I'm typing this URL. You see here why I dragged, so that you guys can see what I'm typing. So I'm typing this URL, vsalm colon 8080/TFS. So this is my TFS instance URL. The other one that you see, that is a project specific, but now this is trying to connect to that particular TFS instance in which I'm using now. So okay, oh sorry, I have typed HTTP wrongly. HTTP p://vsalm:8080/TFS. So now it will run fine. It is asking me the authentication type. I'm using the same ID and password for TFS as I'm using for Windows login. So I type here, I enter here as it is integrated. If you have a different ID and password, you have to type here PAT. Okay, but that is a different session how to create. So I'm generating a token for that, but there is a different class together to understand how can I have separate this thing. But for now, enter. I'm using an integrated connection. So you see it has been registered. Now it is asking what is the pool, what is agent pool you're using. I enter default and it said default is not found. So that means you understand, right? Before I create something, some agent, I need to have some queue. So now I can make a queue as default. I can create any other queue, right? And I can give that name there. So I create a queue called default, and you see there is no agent. If I click here, you'll see there is no agent. No agents are registered. So now I will be going back to my PowerShell. Okay, you see it here. Press enter for default. Earlier it said default not found. Now when I enter, it will take it. Don't get angry with your Microsoft. It's just a VM which is slow, not the Microsoft. So I enter here. You see, it is taking that default thing now. Earlier it was showing an error. Asking the agent name. What is the agent name you want? I'll take the default, which is VSALM, So I enter here. Now it is scanning the properties. It's scanning and checking whether they have all these things are fine for not. They're asking me a folder where it will keep all the properties file. I said okay, _work is fine for me. Now it is asking agent run as a service. Yes, I mentioned that everything runs as a service here. So yes. So now it is asking user account use the same as network. Yes, I mentioned, right, that I'm using the same password and ID. So I'm doing that. So now it is checking my access. Does it have administrator access to run a service for the VSALM? You got that, right? So that's what it was asking this ID. I'll go back here. And I'll check whether I have this thing or not. Let me click here, agent pools. Oh man, see, it is came, right? VSALM, that's what I created. Cool. So now I have an agent, I have a pool where it is assigned. I can have multiple pool to this thing, but let me do a build definition. Let me go to the build and release, which I'm supposed to show today. Build and release. Okay, let me select the project again. Okay, build and release. New, right? I'm creating a new build definition. The earlier two build definition was failed. You see it here, right? So I'm creating a new build definition. This screenshot I have showed you before. So now it is the build template. So you see here, I have multiple template, right? Visual Studio template, Maven template. I have Jenkins template. I have Gradle template. Anything I can choose, and template. So Android template. So anything based upon your requirement. So suppose you are into using Ant, you wanted to use now TFS. So you don't have to change your code base. You don't have to change your scripting. You just migrate all of them into TFS and you run using this plugin. Okay, and this plugin comes free with your TFS. So suppose I will do you three things. One is Java based, so Maven. second is Visual Studio, and third is just a empty template. I'll start with an empty template. Okay. I don't need anything. I will decide what I need to do. So I create an empty template. I don't need your predefined template. So this is the first step. It is asking, what is a repository? So it is, you can see, right? This is the repository where your code base or the branch is getting created. I'm using this project. You can use Git repository. You can use Subversion also, SVN, right? It's asking me what is the default queue. You remember I have created a queue called default. So it is asking me if I have multiple queue, I can have option to select. It is asking me where do you want it to keep. So it is just a folder. Like I can create a folder like this is my default folder. Under that, let me create a folder with my name. Suppose CI. I created a folder called CI. Okay, that's it. That's it. So everything I'm placing under CI. Create. So now once I have created, see it, as it is an empty template, it doesn't have any build step here. So I have to add that. I'll make it very simple. I'll add very simple to build step. So suppose I am adding a utility step. What is that? Command line. Okay, just a command line. Okay, add, and this one, close. But if you wanted to go back and check what are other options are, so it has lot of options. So you have packaging plugins, right? Packaging plugins. You can use the different test cases, different option. You have different utility like copy, deploy, run a PowerShell script, archive something, so many of these things. And here you have this everything together in one platform. So let me go back and let me so it is asking me run a command, right? So I'll do it cd space so this tool name is you have option here. So if you don't know what to type here, so tool name to run, right? So I can use test. Okay, just a test here, cd so mkdir test, right? So you can mouse over here, you can see argument that pass to the tool, double quote to escape premises, right? So like that. And second is copy that publish artifact. So from where I'm copying, if I click here, it will ask me, as I have selected the branch, so I'm copying from here. So let me do something. I'm copying from a release branch. Okay, I'm copying from this build. So whatever folder you know that you need to do, content, I'll do star everything, artifact name, copy step. Okay, artifact type, I'll do a file share, so which will automatically put in the build definition server. So this is my step to create a build definition, simple build definition. Now I have different option here. This is pretty long topic, but we're talking about continuous integration. So I will show you this option called trigger. You see, continuous integration, schedule, and get it check-in. We have talked about this. If I click here, continuous integration, which means anytime there is a new code check-in in this branch, this build definition will run automatically. If I remove that and if I make a schedule, which I mentioned, right? Anytime, every day, today, at a particular time, the schedule will happen. It will not depend when the code is checked in. Every time on a fixed window, it will run. Get it check-in is something like our CI. It will get queued, but again, once the previous one is not completed, it will not complete. or if anything get fails in previous instance, the successive instance will not run. So that is get a check-in. So we'll fix this thing, but anyway, I don't have anything to change here, so the CI will not work here. But anything, if I do a check-in as a developer, it will start. So let me save this thing. Let me save this thing, and I'm saving it as a empty template. Empty template. I'm saving under CI, right? Yeah. So it has been saved. So if I go back to this build definition, again the same page, right? And if I go to all definition, I will see a folder called CI. So yeah. So now if I click here, queue new build, so that means I'm forcing this to run. I'm asking, please run. So how it is going to run? It is asking me, what is my queue name? So I'll choose the default. Wait, why it is reacting like this? So I think I need to refresh it. Right, we have choose this option. Oh yeah, empty template. So now I'll do a queue new build. I was not in the folder, I was outside the folder. So see, it is got assigned to the build default. Now it is in this page. So you see, it is waiting for an agent to available. So I have one agent, right? VSALM. So it is waiting that agent to be available. So once that agent is available, it will start running. So see, if I go to console, or if I click on this build 20 through, I would be able to see what is the status. So it is now running. See, 25 seconds. It is getting all the resources. Resources means it is getting this branch details. It is getting all the branch details available by it. So it is running. So now after that, the test, right? I have couple of steps. This test is now running, right, for 0 second. After that, I have this copy, and again this is the cleanup step, which is a default step by TFS. So let's wait for this thing. In the meantime, when it is running, in the meantime, go back to your build and create one more build definition for your Java base code. So I'll go to all definition, right? I'll go to CI. So I already have this definition created, right? I'll click here, just a click, and I'll clone it. So if I clone, if I wanted to reuse the same step, this is one option. I can just save it with a different name. But suppose I wanted to create a new one. So how to do that? Just click here, new, right? Yes. Now let's select something, a template, right? Let's select a Maven template. Anyway, even if you're choosing Maven template, you can use any steps that you prefer. It's just giving you flexibility to save it, to get it, the Maven by default features. I'm again saving under this CI, right? Okay. Create. See, it is already by default added these 3 steps. I still have an option to select something else. I'll go to trigger. I'll make it continuous integration. So you see, on this branch, any change, the build will start. Now it is a pom.xml file, which is the Maven configuration file, right? So I'll just save it and I will put it as a Maven, right? And CI. Okay. In the meantime, we'll see what is the option. So I'm into Maven. I'll click on this queue new build. I'm using the same queue. If I have multiple queue, I could have asked it to run into this thing. So there are issues with the request definition may prevent build running long. No agent could be found on the following algorithm having queue build. Okay, it's saying that it's having some issue because this build definition is not configured properly, as I do not have all the code based attached here. If I do that, that will take another 30 minutes or 40 minutes to create a new project, to develop that and do that. So this build failed. It failed immediately. No agent found in the pool. So it's saying that the agent was not found. So let us go back to the build definition and we can see what happened to my previous build definition as well. See, this is the previous one, empty template, which we ran, which failed. And I was expecting to be failed because the code base is not correct one that we're using. 4 minutes ago, you can see the number, right, that we have created. Click on that. So you will understand where actually it failed. It got the resource, right? Test case. To run the test case, it failed. If you click here the logs, you'd be able to see what exactly happened when it was trying to run that. It is saying test mkdi test is not recognized, so the command is not correct. So if you correct the command, it will run fine. So anyway, this is good. What I'll do, I'll run this, I'll queue this again, which the Maven one which failed. Queue new build. Okay, so because the project is not a .NET project, Java project, so it is not allowing here. So what I'll do, I'll click here, I'll edit this. Okay, I'll edit this. I'll have something called MS build, right? I'll have something Java, sorry, .NET. Add build step, though I'm using a Maven template, but you understand, right? I have removed that. So now I'll use something MS build. Where is that? Okay, this is MS build. Add, close. Go up. What? Why you're not going up? Yes, good boy. So now I'll save it. MS build. Let's rename it. So you know how easy it is. You can create your build definition just like anything. It's so easy. You don't have to know even the Jenkins, Maven, Gradle or anything. It's just simple, the TFS, and it has all the feature integrated. So now this time it is started. I hope it will also fail because of the code base, but it is waiting for an available agent. It will get triggered very soon. So okay, it started. It got the agent. It is getting the resources. So let it run. We'll wait here. We'll wait here in the screen to see what is the changes are happening. So it is running. If you go back, MS build, Oh, it is also failed. So just now, right? Just now it failed. Okay. It able to copy, but the solution file was not there. So that's it. The Microsoft solution was not there. That's fine. We understood. So that is all, my dear friend. So I'll go out of this my VMware. I'll go back to my PPT. So this is the PPT which we are referring to. You can see, right? These all steps we have discussed in my hands-on session. What is continuous integration? I have explained. What is the batch changes and all those things. And this is some of the document link that you have. You can refer. You can get it from the Visual Studio. You can click on this link to go and get a lab environment even without installing the TFS, as I have shown it to you. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate if you like it, and please get connected. Thank you.